Welcome back. Well, Lexington will pause to remember two of its native sons, Ray and Turner Flynn, who gave their lives in World War II and are now being honored on the national stage. Tonight at 6:30 p.m., the Pam Miller Downtown Arts Center will host a deeply moving ceremony and exhibit unveiling as part of the National Brothers in Arms Storytelling Tour. So joining us today is Kevin Callahan. He is the author of Brothers in Arms, Remembering Brothers Buried Side by Side in American World War II Cemeteries. Thank you so much for coming in today, Kevin.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great.
Okay, so let's get right to it. What led you to write this amazing book, first of all?
Well, it's really visiting these overseas American cemeteries, and there's 14 cemeteries for World War II. And you know, when I was right out of college, I was traveling in Europe and went to the Normandy Cemetery and always found that just incredibly moving and inspiring. So fast forward 18 years, I didn't realize there were multiple American cemeteries around the world. And so we were in Italy and I was traveling with my wife. Now I've got 3 young sons and we're walking through the Sicily-Rome American Cemetery. And we came across 2 crosses that had the same last name, both from Iowa. And I thought those must be brothers. And I talked to the cemetery superintendent and he explained that, yeah, the War Department had a policy that after the war, they would try to put brothers next to each other. So here I am now, the father of 3 boys. I'm thinking about those parents who lost these sons. And so it really became kind of my mission to kind of find and tell the stories of all brothers buried side by side in American World War II cemetery.
That's incredible. So tell us what folks can expect in this book.
Yeah, so it's really, there's about 250 sets of brothers who are buried side by side. So we have a full list at the back of the book. In the book, we profile about 72 sets of those brothers. We tried to reach out and track down all 250. But 75, 80 years later, it's sometimes hard to track down those families. So in about 72 of those cases, we were able to track down the family members because I really wanted to put a face to the name. You know, you go to these cemeteries and it's acre after acre of kind of white burial markers with just a name and a death date. And I really wanted to put a face to the name. I wanted to find photos and artifacts. So I needed to track down the surviving family members. And
That's incredible.
Yeah, traveled the country and collected those photos and artifacts. So there's over 700 photos and artifacts in the book.
That is incredible. I mean, the amount of work and research and reaching out to people, I mean, it's been so long. I mean, how difficult of a process was that to do the research for all of these different sets of brothers? Yeah,
it was really difficult. You know, it's hard to track people down, and even when you do, people are very suspicious and they think this is, you know, some sort of scam or something. You've got to kind of break through that. And thankfully I did all of this work kind of pre-COVID, because you really needed to go and meet with the families in their homes. You know, you couldn't just do it over the phone or over Zoom or something. You needed to go and meet with them, and a lot of times these photos and artifacts they have, they were never going to leave their home. So you needed to be there to scan those photos and artifacts and also collect first-person memories. I mean, there's many people I interviewed who knew these brothers firsthand. In the last 5 or 6 years, we've lost many of them. So it was such a great honor to be able to do that and to get a lot of that work done before kind of things shut down.
Oh my gosh. And now tell us about the Flynn brothers too. They're natives of Kentucky here.
That's exactly right. So the Flynn brothers, you know, it's a great American story, also a tragedy at the end of the day because, you know, they both die in the war, but they're from Irvine, Kentucky. And, you know, you go back to the 1930 census and look at the Flynn family and it just says Dirt Road. You know, most of the time there's an address and a street name, it just says Dirt Road. So, you know, there are 9 children in the family. They grew up, I interviewed their grandson. He said it was just one of those Rocky Hill farms and they earned, you know, basically grew enough food to live on. And so Ray and Turner both served in the war and just both were incredible. You know, Turner Flynn was part of the 357th Infantry Regiment, you know, landed with Normandy, was killed, you know, like a month later, won the Distinguished Service Cross. Ray Flynn served with the 16th Infantry Regiment, which was really the most decorated regiments in the war. You know, they spent 400 days in combat. You know, they're both drafted in '43. Ray makes it all the way to March of 1945. You know, this is only 2 months before the war ends, and he's killed in March 1945. So just incredible, inspiring stories. So they're sad stories and tragic, especially when you realize how much it impacted the families. But it is inspiring to think about the sacrifice they made so that, you know, people not just here, but people around the world could enjoy peace and freedom.
And the event is tonight, right? So give us the info on that.
We're super excited. I mean, the city of Lexington's been really supportive. So we're doing this at the Pam Miller Downtown Arts Center at 6:30 p.m. And so really I'm doing this tour. We're doing, you know, these visits all around the country, both to share the stories of these brothers. So I'll share a lot of those photographs and and things like that. And there's a couple other sets of brothers from Kentucky that we'll be honoring. And also that kind of recognize and honor the family members who were left behind.
Yeah.
And many of whom helped me with preparing, providing materials for the book. So it's also about recognizing them. We actually have a little kind of Brothers in Arms appreciation medal that we give the families. And again, it's my own appreciation for helping with the book, but it's a little bit of recognition. Soldiers in the war earned medals as they well deserve.
Yeah.
But sometimes we forget about those family members who were left behind, sometimes the surviving family members, and how difficult it was for them to go through their lives without these brothers.
Oh, wow. What an incredible book. And with the book as well, where can people get this?
So the book's available, where books are sold, so Amazon and bookstores and things like that. You can go to our own website. It's called brothersinarmsbook.com, so you can also order it there.
Incredible.
Or come to the event.
Wow. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming in and stopping by
thank you
and
so much for
talking with
having
us.
me.
And thank you for sharing these stories in this incredible book. It's amazing. My father was in World War II, so I understand just how much of that history is going to be lost here soon if people like you are not taking the time to go ahead and document these stories and put them into a book. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
And we'll be back right after this. You're watching Good Day Kentucky.